The Earth, Lecture 2. This lecture comes entirely from Visions of Glory by John Pontius. First insight comes on page 88. I asked, he's out of his body and he has an angel who's guiding him. I asked, does the earth have a tunnel of light? The scriptures inform us that the earth is an intelligent and living thing. He answered, yes, God provided a similar means for the movement of the earth to where it now is. Now, we've quoted part of this before. I then experienced, as if I were actually there, how the earth fell from where it was created and moved to where it is positioned now. I had the impression that it took thousands of years for it to arrive. The image I saw appeared to me to be a folding of the universe. It looked like the universe was folded in on itself like a sheet of thick paper or fabric, so that when the earth was created and when it was to go where it was to go were on top of one another. See if I can demonstrate this. The universe folded. Here's the earth on my right, and it's folding over so that the earth is on top of where it's supposed to be in its position around the sun in the universe. Now, it's interesting. Well, I'll share it with you on a later lecture. But the Latter-day Saint scriptures, particularly in this case, the Pearl of Great Price, which is attached to the Doctrine and Covenants, in the small book of Moses and also in the book of Abraham, we gain some very significant insights into the earth and its role in God's plan. But I'll share that a bit later, at least the references. Okay, the earth was then moved from where it emerged and physically transitioned to its new position. This moving of the earth occurred during the entire creation process. By the time it arrived, it was prepared for mortal man. I also saw that when it is time for it to return to its original location, the universe will again fold, and the earth will be moved back to its place of creation. I did understand that the reason the universes were folded together was because it was more efficient. The word easier doesn't apply because God has all power and nothing taxes his power or ability. It was just more efficient, and it is the way it has always been done. There is a celestial arithmetic about this vision. He's out of his body, but he still calls it a vision. That was amazing to behold. I realized that this mighty folding of the universe was not magic to God. It was more like brilliant spiritual technology. I saw that God possesses vast laws, principles, and science, if you will, of how to do these things within his understanding and power. They were beautiful to behold, like a divine dance with stars and planets as the performers. When men do math, there is always the infection of error and mistakes. God's arithmetic is always flawless, and I saw that the entirety of his creations were the recipient of his flawless, godly engineering. So in essence, he's saying God created out there in space, and Mormons believe there's a planet called Kolob near unto where God lives, and that's where the earth was created, and it was brought down to this orbit close to the sun, where things were just perfect for mankind to come to the earth and work out his salvation. In the Pearl of Great Price, in the book of Abraham, we're told that the gods met together and there was space there, and they said, we'll go down and we'll create. And in Moses we're taught, same Pearl of Great Price, we're taught that as one world goes through its processes, similar to what those of mankind going through, eventually this world will become celestialized, and celestial people will live on this planet. And that's the measure of creation that the earth knows that it was designed to fulfill. Therefore, when we come down on the earth and commit all kinds of sin and war, etc., the earth responds in a negative way, and we look at the Old Testament, the promises that were made to the children of Israel, that the earth would respond to them in their righteousness. But if they became wicked, then negative things would happen, and the earth would respond in a negative way. Destruction, calamities, etc. Well, we could talk about that for a long time. Okay, so now we're back here, and we're on page 89. All of the glorified universes I perceived were one of three glories: celestial, terrestrial, or telestial. There were other types which were not types of glory. These were wonderful places without glory, where beings who had not qualified for a reward of glory during their lifetimes were ultimately sent. These were of every type, of every description, and were created in response to their desires. They wanted nothing more to do with God or his intervention in their lives. So he, God, gave them what they wanted, whatever it was, and there they would stay throughout eternity, unable to challenge God's authority ever again. Our earth is presently of the telestial order, but before the era of man, the earth had come from a celestial plane. It was not yet celestialized, but it was created there. The transition from a celestial realm to the mortal realm is what constitutes the fall, and was accomplished by this folding process. And of course, the fall was known about in the pre-existence, in the war in heaven, the need for a Savior. We all knew it. And Father planned for it. And the Savior, Jesus Christ, Jehovah in the pre-existence, volunteered to fulfill the requirements of the atonement. But he wanted to allow men to choose. Satan volunteered to do the same thing, but he wanted to force everybody. And because he was going to save everybody, he wanted to take the credit and the glory and push God aside off his throne, as you read about in the scriptures. Okay, last insights about the earth. I saw that the earth itself had been created perfect and is fulfilling the measure of its creation. Everything about it, its placement in the universe, the distance from the sun, and the bringing forth of life, fruit, and beauty, is all created by and maintained by the continuing presence of the light of Christ. People institute governments, false religion, false science, false teachings, build cities where evil easily thrives, and provide universities and schools to promote such things. The entire collection of the philosophies of men, their lies, their religions, their rationalizations and sins, as these constructs and pollutions of man spread across the globe, they cover the world with darkness, and the earth responds with upheaval, devastations, floods, famines, pestilence, and death. All of this is like a blanket of darkness that spreads itself across the face of the earth, dimming the light of Christ that reaches the earth. This diminishes the power that keeps the earth orderly and a fit habitation for mankind. Interesting relationship noted there. There is a process given to the earth whereby it cleanses itself. When evil overtakes it, natural disasters, think of the flood, the time of Noah, and others. Today, read the newspaper. Plagues and upheavals begin in random places. When evil on the world becomes so great that the light of Christ is dimmed, it will produce eruptions, extremes of weather and temperature, storms, floods, earthquakes, and other destructive events. There is a direct correlation between the choices of mortals and the condition of the earth. And we've lost that to a large degree. I'm going to read it again. There is a direct correlation between the choices of mortals and the condition of the earth. And it's going to get worse, and there's going to be, quote-unquote, more breakouts of all kinds of disasters and calamities if we don't allow the light of Christ to penetrate our souls. This is why there will be so many natural disasters and death caused by these acts of nature in the latter days, because mankind by then will have veiled the earth in darkness. It's getting darker and darker and darker as we live. This isn't to say that the earthquake or the flood is aimed like a missile at the evil, or that the places where disasters happened needed cleansing. Most The whole of humanity suffers when darkness reigns. Enoch saw the earth weep because it was overwhelmed and covered by evil in Enoch's day. It wanted to rid itself of evil and rest in the millennial day. And you can find an account of that weeping in the conversation that Enoch has with the Lord about why the earth is weeping. You can find that in the Pearl of Great Price, in the book of Moses, chapter 6, 7. One of those two chapters. You start reading it and you read it all the way through. And we again see the relationship between mankind's righteousness or wickedness and the earth's response. And it will continue that way right up to the end. If it was tired and sick in Enoch's day, imagine how weary it is today. Immediately following this view of the earth and the effects of spiritual light and darkness, the scene changed once again. I began seeing the earth going through the prophesied latter-day destructions. The first thing I saw was the signs of the second coming being made manifest in the earth. These signs were in the form of events in the heavens and on the earth. The most visible of these were the unending natural disasters. Other signs were wrongly interpreted by mankind that they were to be unexpected but normal upheavals in the earth and celestial events among the stars and planets. I could see growing evil in the hearts of mankind. I saw that the earth was in great trouble. It was suffering, dying, losing its ability to sustain life on its face. It was like a tropical flower that had been moved into a basement devoid of all light and was dying in the darkness. It could not live without the light that gave life to everything and made it beautiful and useful to man. Every part of the earth was in great tribulation. Some sobering, serious things in our relationship to the earth.